Well, he enjoys to put asses and tits and beautiful women for people to see, and I don't give a shit about that. I believe you should just hear me because of the message. But if you want to, there is some tits over there on his side, and just go and have a look. You can possibly wank one off. I don't know if there is any nipples or anything showing, but maybe you should go and you should have a look at that. And I just wanted to put some men there to troll you guys and also that fucker for the video that he made.
Not even a minute and a half in, and we're already at name calling. Next.
So, let's address the two issues first of all. He doesn't like the fact that I have a problem with apathy.
Wrong. This is exactly what I said. Okay. The problem I have with this video is that he is saying that if you're apathetic, pretty much something is wrong with you. Something is wrong with you if you're apathetic. If you hate women or whatever, something is wrong with you if you hate women. Let me tell you something. If you are a man or MGTOW or whatever, doesn't matter if you're MGTOW, MRA, whatever you call yourself, doesn't matter. If you hate women, whatever the fuck that means, if you hate women, I don't have a problem with that. I am not a part of the thought police department, okay? I'm not. I'm gonna tell you that something is wrong with you because you don't think like everyone else. You know, as far as I'm concerned, it's part of the healing process. As long as you're not violent or anything else like that, I don't have a problem with however you feel or think at all. Next.
First of all, let's be clear. The guy is obviously not watched the entire video, so I've returned the favor and I've watched 7 minutes and 13 seconds, and because it's unscripted, I'm also making an unscripted video because I believe he enjoys rumblings and I'm gonna give him a rumbling as well.
Again, you're wrong. What gave you the impression that I didn't watch the entire video? I did. Next.
So, apathy. I've said that before, and let me prove to you via giving this guy as an example why I don't like apathy. If men are to do nothing and offer nothing to other men, and they want to be heard, their opinions are along the lines that this guy has. That we should not care about blue pill men and what happens to them.
Again, why would you think that when I explicitly said in my video that I do care about men, even the blue-pilled ones? Next.
He used the example of Chris Rock, that he was telling men not to get married, and then he went to get married, and then now he's facing a divorce. Haha! I mean, it's funny, right? Just imagine if that happened to some of your friends. Would that be funny again?
Recent example. Chris Rock. Chris Rock. Do I feel bad for Chris Rock, the comedian? Yes and no. Yes, because, well, he's getting a divorce and he's about to get fucked in the ass by the court system. Okay? If he's lucky, all he'll have to pay is just court costs. But from my understanding, the prenup has expired. And his wife, ex-wife, is a lawyer, and she waited out. Shocker. So I do feel bad for him in that aspect. Here's why I don't feel bad for him. This nigga has been telling us, and excuse my language, this nigga has been telling us for years not to get married. Not to get married. He's married. He's getting divorced. But he didn't take his own advice. He knew. That tells me that he knew the risks. He knew the risk and he did it anyways. He did it anyways. Now, what part of that clip made you think that I thought that what Chris Rock is going through was funny? I didn't laugh. I didn't say it was funny. Where did you get that idea from? Next.
Do you think Chris Rock came across the message?
Chris Rock has been doing comedy skits about relationships, women, divorce, alimony, and marriage forever. Okay? He didn't need to be told the message. He was telling it to us. Next.
The problem with you, my friend, is that you should be apathetic and not be making any videos because you're offering no advice of any value to anyone. What you're basically saying is, as long as someone has the MGTOW label in front of his name, he deserves to be heard. And I completely disagree with that.
Now, see, at this point, I just feel like you're making shit up because nowhere in my video did I say explicitly or imply that anyone with a MGTOW label in front of their name should be heard simply because of that. I think people have different stories and they should be able to tell them if they want to. Just because you don't see any value in it doesn't mean that somebody else won't. Come on now. Next.
If you do not have something of value to offer to anyone, you do not deserve to be heard. You do not deserve anything. Because you're not making any content for any other reason other than to receive a personal benefit. And that benefit, in the majority of the cases, is attention. And I don't know why you need attention in your life.
And my head I'd be scratching while my thoughts were busy hatching if I only had a brain.
Again with the goddamn straw mans. You really think I'm some sort of attention whore? As you can clearly see, I'm not doing this for the money or for the attention. You fail. Next.
And I don't care if men don't want to do something, right? I don't give a shit what they do. Even if Barbarossa does not agree with my version of MGTOW, that will not stop me from producing this type of videos, and I will continue in the direction which I'm taking. Apathy, I believe, is the worst characteristic of a human being, and I will not stand for it.
Next.
As long as they take the message on and they better their lives. And my message is actually going through the stages and actually bettering their lives. That's what my message is trying to achieve. I don't know if you ever watched more than one video, but I don't give a shit if you had, or if you didn't. I don't think you would be able to take anything on. The message should have a valid point. If you go and question things and you don't offer solutions, or if you question things and you don't question them with any valid reason, like what you're saying is, I don't have a problem with apathy because I don't have a problem with apathy. And men can be apathetic. That's your argument.
No, wrong again. I said I don't have a problem with apathy because I don't care about policing people's minds or their language. How they feel, that's on them. I don't have a problem with how people feel. I don't have a problem with people being racist either. Apathetic, chauvinistic, sexist, whatever. Like I said in my video, as long as you keep your hands to yourself, I don't have an issue with that. Next.
You haven't addressed any of the arguments that I have made in my video. You haven't addressed the point that if everyone is apathetic, no one is going to achieve anything. You haven't addressed the point that I made that if content producers were apathetic and did not produce any content and kept the message to themselves, as you seem to want to do.
You mean like these videos I uploaded? The ones I clearly don't want anybody to see? I don't want any men that I already said that I care about don't want to see? These videos? This is what I'm trying to keep away from everyone? And as far as everyone being apathetic goes, I actually agree with you that if everyone was apathetic, no one would achieve anything. However, this is not a reason for someone to care about men or women or whoever else. It reminds me of, when someone tells you that if your parents didn't have you, or if no one had kids, then the entire human race would die off, which is true, but that's still not justification for you to have kids. Next.
Then no one else would be MGTOW. Maybe separate men somewhere out there would be coming across to the message, but no one would be sharing it. They would have kept it uniquely for themselves. And I think at least the majority of the big content producers, and I'm not talking about myself here, I'm even including Stardust, Barbarossa, RBK, John the Other, Messenger, Dark Knight, all of them, they're actually trying to better the lives of other men. That's why they're doing this. That's why they're talking to other men. They want them to go through their issues and to improve their lives, and you don't seem to be able to understand that.
No, of course not. I'm just doing this all for attention, by the way. Just for shits and giggles, just to have something to do with my time. I have no interest. Next.
You don't seem to be able to understand that because you yourself should be apathetic, yet you seek attention. You yourself, what you want is for the blue pill men to be completely separated, and we shouldn't give a shit about them because they're not the same as us. I'm MGTOW, I'm suddenly better than them. I've never been them.
Where the fuck did you get this information from? Because you sure as hell didn't get it from my video. Any of them. You are making shit up as you go along. Next.
And you don't see the point in us spreading the message. We spread the message, we prevent other men from going through the same shit that maybe you did, maybe other people did. I know definitely Messenger did, and I know definitely Stardust did, and I know Traversable did as well. There's a lot of men that went through the ringer. Why do we need to prolong the suffering? Do you think it's going to achieve something potentially good? I mean, I'm not even sure if you've managed to go through that rationalization. Whether you've gone through the end of that thought process, which is let it all burn, let society collapse a bit faster. I mean, if you want to do that, right, don't associate yourself with the MGTOW label, put feminism in front of your name, go side with the feminists and vote for feminist laws.
You know, I was really hoping that I was going to learn something today. But instead, all I got was a bunch of straw mans and ad hominems, but instead, you just give a whole bunch of baseless accusations and assertions that's based on nothing at all. Why would you think the 7 minutes or so that you watched my video, because apparently you didn't watch all my video because you thought I didn't watch all of your video. Why you think that, I have no clue, because I didn't say anything, and you just making things up based on nothing. Or maybe it's not based on nothing. Maybe your premise is just faulty. Maybe you think that because I should be apathetic, your words, I want to see the world burn. I mean, if someone is apathetic, how does that translate to they want to see the world burn? Next.
And he doesn't like the fact that I don't like misogyny. The problem with misogyny is very simple. I mean, you're saying that it's one of the stages. The stage is called red pill rage stage, right? Where after taking the red pill, a lot of men go through the anger stage and they look at women and they hate them because of the time that they've wasted, because of the damage that they did, and because of the reasons that they did. And that comes back to the nature of women. And the majority of men eventually get through that. I don't have a problem with men being misogynist, but going through the stages. I have a problem with content producers that keep producing misogynistic videos for no reason other than to get something, get attention, or promote hate. There's nothing else. There's no other reason why people keep doing videos like that.
Okay, so what if a content producer is going through the stages and they create more than one video to what you would consider hate? Do you have a problem with that? Because you said you didn't have a problem with men going through the stages. What if they stay in the red pill rage stage for a long time? You know, every man is different. Maybe he doesn't get out of the red pill rage stage. Next.
I'm telling women directly that you've caused damage, and you've caused damage directly to that man. You deserve all the repercussions that might come to you. And I'm talking about the repercussions that might come from other men.
You do understand how such a message could be misinterpreted as misogynistic or hateful towards women or sexist or anything like that, right? Because you clearly didn't define damage and you didn't define repercussions. Now, of course, I understand what you mean, but of course there are those individuals that want to protect women. We've met those individuals that will quickly say that you are just as misogynistic and hateful towards women. Next.
And I believe that if a woman strikes a man has the right to strike her back. I believe all these things.
I completely agree with you. Next.
I don't know where you're coming from, and I don't understand what your problem is with misogyny. And if you've actually watched the video, what I said is, and it comes back to the first argument, misogyny stops the message from going through to blue pill men.
That's an extremely bold statement. I mean, MGTOW has been on the rise, I don't know, for a couple of years now, I want to say. So, if anything, I would say that misogynistic, well, I'm not saying that all MGTOW content is misogynistic, but I would say a good portion of it is. And how would I define misogynistic? Women are evil, women are only good for one thing. I don't have a problem with misogyny or misogynistic content. I don't. That was your assertion that you made towards me, and of course, again, that's based on nothing. So, as far as blue pill men not getting the message because they're hearing something that they don't like to hear, well, that's their problem. It is not my or any other man's responsibility to lighten the message so that quote unquote blue pilled men would be more receptive to it. I mean, that sounds awfully familiar to what women have been telling us. Next.
And helping blue pill men. And if you don't give a shit about blue pill men, then you don't have a problem with misogyny and how far the message might travel. But you see, a lot of us actually give a shit about spreading the message and about helping the lives of other men. You seem to not give a fuck.
Yep. Once again, I'm just doing this for laughs and giggles. I have nothing else better to do with my time. And I'm just doing this because I am an attention whore, as you can clearly see. Next.
The problem that I have with you is a very deep one, and it comes down to the philosophy with MGTOW. I took the philosophy on. I understood the philosophy, and I'm pretty sure you might understand it as well. Alright?
It's funny that you say that because you've been trashing me all video long about how I clearly don't give a shit about men, how I think it's funny when men go through the meat grinder, and how I'm doing this for attention and all of this other shit. Next.
But after I understood the philosophy, I felt like I needed to give something back. I felt like I needed to help other men. And the majority of you guys don't give a shit about other men. The majority of you guys, you think that this is somehow special. That somehow the understandings taught in MGTOW are so deep. They're not deep. They're not difficult to understand. The problem comes back to the programming for those men. And if the programming is such that it prevents them from going through and listening to the first word and actually letting the message get through to their heads, they will never get to the point that you are now. Some men need to go through the ringer first to hear the message. And that's how you prefer men to come to MGTOW. First to get raped in whatever way, and then to come to MGTOW. Maybe that's how you came to MGTOW. And maybe that's what you want other men to go through. Otherwise, your suffering didn't mean anything.
And just when I thought you was giving me a compliment, again, this thing about me wanting men to suffer to get the message of MGTOW, what is this based on? What is it based on? For goodness sakes, man. Next.
After all, misery loves company, right? But I don't want that. I mean, I've had my share of misery, but I don't want people to go through that. I've had a chat with Messenger last night, and he was giving me advice about a personal situation to do with me, and he was telling me that he didn't want me to go through the same shit that he went through. And it's very important that we have people like Messenger in the group. And with Messenger, I disagree on things. I disagree with things all the time. But I know where his heart stands. I know the reason that he wants to spread the message. I know that he wants to help other men. Where are you standing? What do you support? What is your relevance? What is your fucking point?
My point is to create content for men who only know one narrative, the mainstream narrative, and try to save lives one man at a time. Next.
If you have nothing better to offer, at least be quiet.
I should be quiet? Why? Because I said something that you didn't like? Because you don't agree with my ideas? Go fuck yourself.